Aha, it's listing as it is so that we can be rolling as as quickly as possible. We on, we live. I can see my things are really happening. I've been sweating. It's been a long day. We've been out in the day since you know that it was the 30th June and it's 2026. A lot today in our country has happened. But anyway, welcome to the heartbeat of the nation. My name is Paul Nuku. I am your host, to General Corporal, the two-striped man with the medal on top. Ngiti Vorna, Vorna, Vorna. I welcome you all. Today we are speaking about the beautiful game. You know what it is, football. Today we are celebrating history, heartbreak, and unbreakable spirit of Bafana Bafana. And it's a story of a team that has reached the pinnacle of their history as we speak. They went to the last 32. In the previous World Cup, we never made it. We never believed in ourselves. Some of us didn't even care about the World Cup, especially looking at the teams we had previously. But this particular team, the Hugo Bruce team, that has finally broken the curse, or has broken the unbelieveness within us, that they have reached the round of 32, and not just reach the round of 32, the football they played, it was a football in which we as football lovers would want to see such, football unfolding in our country, and to take the standard of football to another level. This is a milestone to South African football, but also a tale of cruel exit, left many of us heartbroken, because it was a last minute goal as well by Canada, and it was like the match was already done. We had just to go to the extra time. Unlucky we were. But first of all, I'd like to take this moment to reflect on what has achieved and what it means to South Africans and the history of Bafana Bafana, reaching the knockout stages. It is a moment of pride, a testament of growth of our football, and a source of hope for the future generation, because you must understand what they have done. They have set it up a standard for the future generation. So now we know that we can reach the last 32, meaning obviously in group stages we are not interested anymore. So now we are interested in going to the last 32 and possibly making it to the last 16. Then we can speak something else. I know it's a long road, and you must understand it's not just an easy road to get to the World Cup. You still have to qualify in continental football, because we still need to play continental football. We still need to play, other countries, and who their first time or their second time would want to find themselves in the World Cup. And Morocco has won now. They are in the last 16, and Ivory Coast is playing today with Netherlands. So all of the African teams now, surely one or two will make it to the semi-finals, and they will represent Africa. It's not yet soon for an African team to lift up the World Cup. Not yet. I think the time is coming, but it is not yet, that time. And that time, you will tell it when it's there. And we need to understand how also football, does its thing. Football, it grows. It grows. Football, it's a game of high and lows, and it's dramatic, the clash. It keeps us fans, on the edge of our seats. And Bafana has done that, and the journey has ended very narrow defeat, 1-0, last 52 seconds. It was cruel, it was heartbreaking, and our players were noticed. Our players were told, yeah, they are good, and like there are players in which other nations might look at them and go, siyabancanda laba abantu bethu kumele bazodlalela idiski ekasi lethu. And once they do that, once we can sell players in the international level, not that our league is not high competitive. Our league is high competitive. You saw we made it to the last 32, so it doesn't mean our league is not competitive. Our league is competitive. Your Kaizer Chiefs, your Sundowns, your Pirates, your Stellenbosch, your Swelele, Orbit College, Bahampile, Nalabo, Hard Luck, and it shows that our football is not just, something that we didn't invest in. We invested in that thing, and it shows now that we invested in that thing. And the way the boys play, it's very and the path to the last 32 was not easy, but it has shown. And for us not also to lose like Mamparas, because there's this thing of losing like Mamparas. One Shaibo must 7, one Shaibo must 6. But well, our boys maintained a certain particular standard, and they never lose the standard. They were there. They were making sure that they play, and they made sure that they play beautiful soccer. And we say congratulations, to the players, to the coaching staff, and congratulations to the administrator. Though we know very well those administrators, some of them when we come back from World Cup, they need to be questioned. At like, thank you very much to the people who made it possible for Bafana Bafana to go there. Possibly, the politics and football in it. It was hard for you guys to also, juggle the two, but you did juggle the two, and you did come out tops. In your understanding of what was for you and what entailed, and the things that you have done. And for me, it's making history and rewriting the narrative, because the narrative has changed, and the narrative, when it has changed, it has shifted. Now we have become a global phenomenon in terms of our soccer. And then when it comes to knockout stages, you know how it is. A game will be remembered for its intensity. The Canada had intensity. We played our soccer. Abafaka amashibubu labafana. Moya masashanga amashibubu shibubu. Bashanga amashibubu wadlala phela thina. Sibenze busy kahle kahle to show them the other side of football, and the effort of the team, and the final whistle that brought waves of emotion in our nation, because we were like, oh my God, we are out of the World Cup. We had hope. And so many and other people said it. Even the coach himself was like, we have already won by reaching the last 32, because they didn't believe we would make it in this, but we will make it this far. So when the team made it this far, most of us, we were surprised. Even I was surprised to see Bafana Bafana make it in the round of 32, and like the soccer itself. And I know we play beautiful soccer. I know our soccer is, there in international standard and in international level. It's just like we said in the previous episode about the history of South Africa and the history of sports in South Africa, that we got introduced to international sports at a later stage. You can tell, even the way we play, even the fatigue, all of these things, they don't just be happy, and like they take time. And for us to find ourselves in a space where we are really really looking forward to, the football understanding and the fraternity of it, and what it does to the nation, and economically it will boost us, and socially it will boost so many, because so many kids now, where I come from, they would believe they will make it to the World Cup. And once they believe they can make it to the World Cup and they become best players, you can tell how many we will have along the way. Because now, what a beautiful thing is, we have founded ourselves in spaces where we could understand how, even also, it's just those kind of things where you just get a random, disturbance on the side, and you're trying to fix yourself, but now you're trying to make things happen, and you're trying to make it work. I was talking about Bafana Bafana in the history of us being new in terms of this fraternity of football and international football, and we lived up to the expectation, and the players as well, you can tell. And now there are rumors that our players are being looked at, like scouted by international clubs, clubs from Britain, clubs from Europe, clubs from other parts of the world. And more especially, I think our boys want to play to the Arabic. They want to play Arabic, kind of like what you may call. league, because there is an Arabic league, and those guys now are coming, with beautiful players within their space as well. And when you look at what is this? Arabian and the North nations, because the North nations didn't believe that they can buy players from us. Even in Egypt, Al Ali and the rest, they couldn't believe they could buy players from us because we were the ones who were buying players from them. So now tables have turned. Now they can buy even players from our country. Because as well, like I said, we got introduced to international football at a later stage. So what has happened is that our players got even our players didn't even get enough time to be sold in other countries. And you must remember, before a player is sold to another club in another country, they should have a particular caps. So caps would mean you have played for your national team maybe 20 times or maybe 10 times. So they can't just buy you. You have to be internationally standard, meaning you have to play some national caps, because no team can take a player or buy a player that is not having national caps, unless it is a player they are taking from development. Because when they take a player from development, that will mean they have invested since from day one. So now when they find themselves in a space where now the player is in the professional league, he's playing professional football and is young, he has to have particular caps. Hence, even now when we speak of Mfukeng, Apolis, they are able to now get sold. Who's this year? Mbutuma and Bomuremi. They now have caps, and when you have caps now, you can be sold to any country or any continent within our space at this particular moment in time, which is a beautiful thing, that our players will be playing international football. And when they play international football, it's a great thing for all of us when we sit in spaces where we are so glued to be able to, but strive for development, because we want to strive for development. We want to see development. We want to see people grow. And especially where we come from, we really want to see development. We really want to see the growth, even of individual, and the growth of a nation, the growth of a community, because it's very important. And Bafana Bafana did that. Once it has reached this pinnacle of the 32 round, it has showed so many, even the globe, because they were the only team that was playing in that day. They were playing, and means the whole world was watching. And Canada felt the uneasiness, because they are also the host. So they felt the uneasiness even in facing an African country, because it's not easy as well, because of these stereotypes that comes with when you think of an African country, or when you think of us and say, hey, these guys are in Africa. So what does that mean when you're in Africa? And what does it entail when you're in Africa? So there is a lot of stereotypes that we are also needing to deal with in terms of the societal understanding of Africa and parts of Africa and what Africa is all about. And since Bafana Bafana obviously have managed to find themselves in this particular position, which means as well other people or other clubs or other nations now understand the real jigs of this particular football in South Africa. And we still have to, what's the word I'm looking for? We still have to invest in that football. We still have to be in a space where we are going, no. That football is proper for us. We love that football. Don't take it away from us. We really appreciate it if that happens, because if that football doesn't happen, who and like at the end of the day, we are finding ourselves fooling, because we want development. We want to see things grow. We don't want to find ourselves in spaces where nothing grows. We want to see escalation. So it's good for the boys that they are going to be playing overseas. It means now we need to uproot other new talent. We need to look at development again. We need to go, okay, sharp. Now, how do we plan for the next 5 years? How do we plan for the next 10 years? How do we plan for the next 2 World Cups? Because the 2 World Cups will be it's 4 plus 4, it's 8 years. So how do we plan now in this 8 years, or then give them a 2 year break in terms of the African Cup? Because now we still have it, and the Melasi Cook, I had my chance. We still want to win the African Cup of nation. So it means vele vele nayo mele siyikuke mele ihlalise emqondweni ukuthi okay right, we're going to play some tournaments, and after playing some tournament we need to go to qualifications of the World Cup, and then we beat any team that we come across in the qualifications. We find ourselves again in the World Cup, and then we play like we want to play in the World Cup, because I don't believe we played the way we want to play, and we have seen now, and we have realized if we can play until a particular level as a nation, we'll make it. But if we play and there's doubts within us as a team, or doubts within the managerial, or the people who are supposed to put the spirit or the fire, into the people, tell them, hey, don't sleep on your gig, and to believe in themselves, because I think there was a slight not belief within our boys, and a slight not assurity to go, hey, am I really that good? Because when you are good, and sometimes uh, a giant, when a giant looks at the mirror, they don't see a giant, they see themselves, and most of us see giants, but the giants don't see themselves. They are human beings, though they know that they are the best in what they do, but it doesn't let's be honest and truthful. You think somebody who they don't have superpowers. Can we say these guys have superpowers because they are the best in what they do, and they managed to beat, not also to beat, but to become the best in what they do in that essence. So it means, yeah, they have particular superpowers. I think also that, yeah, Messi would have a superpower, ne? Kahle kahle. Because the way he plays soccer, that means he's rough, he plays nice, and Cristiano, it means these guys are particular, having a particular kind of like superpowers, if really they are the guys in which they find themselves in spaces where they are hits, and when we go, hey, do they have superpowers, these guys, it means this is the particular thing we are meaning, in terms of them being superficial in what they do, because they do it like the best, and they are the best doers, and we can't lie in terms of what they do, because very well, me and you, if these guys are best at what they do, who is me, you, to be sitting somewhere and going, no, they are not. And for me, that was the thing with Bafana Bafana. If they had to also have a belief, and also have that kind of power to say, we have power, we have a belief, we're going to play our football, and we're going to be strong. We needed that in terms of us being in the World Cup, and being in the World Cup was not just something we could take lightly, as somebody who's sitting somewhere in his corner and enjoying seeing the World Cup unfolds, and seeing the players, and enjoying the players of South Africa, because it is time for the young one, because especially with the young ones, the young players of South Africa, they are quite interesting, because they play beautiful soccer. They don't just play the audience soccer, and because of also technology, and also this thing of PlayStation and watching other people. And when you watch other people, when you watch international soccer, it is not the same anymore. It is like the people who are, it's closed now. When you watch that soccer thing now, the soccer thing, it's closed. It's more close home. When you look at Mbappe, like you can, you can scheme. It's like you can give him a call, and hey, Mbappe. They look human enough that the boys now believe now, bro, they are human enough to be able to play, and play beautiful soccer, and that's what we want. That's the beauty of seeing a country develop from where it was to where it needs to be. Like I've alluded in the previous episode.